last-minute issue. We should be ready for the pistol.
Now, one thing I like to mention here, check out this 4-stack that's in effect from Gen.G at the moment. This seems like a big counterplay from what T1, I guess, generally like to do on their A setup. But they have a completely different approach. They are just cyber caging out early, buying a little bit of information for them to just kind of walk push over towards B. You are going to be seeing MkaeL, who's been getting a lot of love for his Cypher play, actually just kind of holding in a retake position here. The fight will actually be brought to Gen.G as T1. They've already pushed on to be uncontested. Now they'll search for a little bit more if they so possibly can, but Guimond is going to be there around the corner to find 2 kills, a triple before he's eventually taken out of the picture, but he has done his job favorably. And crashies will pick it right back up, though. Unfortunately, although GMD was able to find a very significant amount of kills, it's not enough to probably secure the round. Brax will make it so. And a very quick pistol as that bomb goes down. It seems that Gen.G will just kind of offer themselves up on a silver platter to the remaining members of T1.
A pair of 3Ks in the round. Brax and GMD coming in huge. Those are some massive kills. Breach, again, the agent that we don't see too much. Often we see Phoenix in lieu of that flashing operator. So very interesting to see. That being said, they kind of had to go for that link push. It did nearly get punished, but they do make it work in the end. Brax with 3, crashies with 2. As now we enter the second round, a straight pistol play towards C long is the call. Player 1 will get 1, but crashes in food. Double it back. Food a second. AZK, and now to back it up, and fRoD will finish it off. A very one-sided affair. That being said, maybe the defenders, maybe Gen.G can be happy with 1, but I think given the fact that so many players were there, they were hoping for more.
Decent read on the situation. Really not too much to write home about. T1, they really didn't even have time to, I guess, kind of execute upon that default that they had going early on, so they were able to rotate quickly over towards C long. I feel maybe that could have had a little bit of a better rate of success if Gen.G maybe took their time in actually making contact over towards C long, but it's not a bad attempt by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they're kind of working with limited artillery in that case. Now they're going to be trying to search for a little bit more into this next round here. Rifles fully bought up on the side of T1. They're still kind of holding on to those Spectres holdouts from the last round here, but fRoD actually, I was just about to say, he's picked up the op and he's already delivered with it, found that first kill. So the 1.6 legend fRoD has at least maybe gotten off to a good start in Valorant.
Seems like it. The 1.6 operator, much like the Valorant, 1.6 op rather, much like the Valorant operator. Swing will come in. He won't be so lucky a second time, but again, the Spectre defense done his job. AZK trying to hold on top. He'll find 2 with a Bulldog, and opportunity for a third, perhaps. effys through the smoke. He'll find a second, but they have much time left. 2 on 2 as his teammate falls. MkaeL taken down by food. It's effys alone towards the back of site, trying to find something, prying, hoping to find anything. He'll find his third of the round, and that's food, but there's still 1 more holding. It's Brax with the SMG. Even at range, it's enough. effys, mortally tagged by his prior engagements, will not win the round, and T1 will continue their win streak with what was essentially a bonus round of SMGs.
Now, I mean, to be fair, at the same time, they did fully buy up that operator, and luckily it was picked up by Brax towards the end, but that was a bit dangerously close of a call, in my opinion. Brax was sitting, waiting outside of garage, and MkaeL, I believe he was thinking about actually pushing on through, but I'm not sure if he committed to the idea of it. Brax was there to pick up the pieces towards the end. Maybe the trades were a little bit messy, but all in all, a very clean start for T1 as they go up 3-0. And into this next one, we're going to be seeing more pistols in play from Gen.G. And T1, again, they're going to be going for this slower default. This is exactly what you saw last time around, that they're on pistols in round number 2. And so they should be able to find a decent amount of success with it. However, one thing I want to mention real quick is since they haven't been pushed by pistols just yet, and that they had a watching eye over towards C long, they know that, well, they're taking a more passive approach to this here. Long is one of those places that are seldom held with only pistols, so they're going to go ahead and try their luck at pushing on and into the site here. Gone well for them so far. The run it back is going to be expended just to try to get a little bit more information in space, and it will work just fine here. 5v5 for this retake, and Nate, I mean, it's not looking good for Gen.G, but at least they have a little bit of hope. Maybe if they can get something crazy.
A lot of hopes being put on those sheriffs. They had quite a few shorties as well. in a retake situation where you have to go to the attackers, it's going to be difficult, to say the least, with those shotguns. They're kind of a one-trick pony in that respect. So at this point, they're going to try to use their utility to get in. Player one does find one, but crashies gets the trade. Crashies down sight by the second. Not quite a third is MkaeL, and huynh coming with a pair of kills. Now the spike being stuck. fRoD trying to find something over the smoke, but he can't quite do so. And in fact, huynh jumping up on top of the box. He'll find two. It's a 3K in the round, and somehow that pistol round gets the first round on the board for Gen.G.
And that's why you can never count out an eco round. That was just brilliantly played. The patience on Gen.G was insurmountable right there. You saw huynh, I believe it was, holding over towards short A and just held on so long with that shorty. The patience was just unbelievable and came in at the perfect time. Got their shots off here. crashies was in a pretty round-winning position. Unfortunately, went down after that second frag, but really, that was all on huynh if I had to point to one person who made that round work pretty significantly. Now he'll be rewarded with an operator, and I would say rewarded with a kill, but unfortunately it seems like he was just a hair off of hitting that one. fRoD, maybe a little bit ambitious, tries to do huynh over, or one over, excuse me. Will actually get punished just in part. MkaeL having to use that resurrection as well. This isn't a very good start for T1 to say the very least. They're gonna have to use a lot of their cooldowns just to maintain this neutral game. They've expended a lot of map control as well.
Yes, they have. The ultimates have been rife in this round. We saw the revive coming in on fRoD, picking up the operator. Lost the opening engagement. We saw the Hunter's Fury towards long from the defenders that only got a smidgen of damage in. However, no kills, no mortal coils shuffled off as of yet. 50 seconds left. Still plenty of time to work with, as it appears that AZK will pop the door towards garage. And the team, it looks like they want to go either towards B or towards A. Smoke will go down towards garage, perhaps for a fake.
Indecisive.
Yeah. They are indecisive. 35 seconds left. Now, one player jumps out the window. That's effys, likely to lurk up towards B. And meanwhile, the remaining 4 players are going towards A. But the push from Sova is so timely. He's up C long. He has so much information. At this point, these players towards B should consider rotating around towards A. And in fact, for so timely, no. huynh. He catches food. Now it's the take towards A, however. 4 players running in towards long. Nobody was there to defend Cypher. Went for the full retake scenario. And as a result, the spike will go down. And we will have to see yet another retake coming in from Gen.G.
That was just a wonderfully done fake, though, however, from T1. You know, just a single Phoenix flashbang plus his body was enough to bring out that breach ultimate, and they were basically forced to play retake on B from the start, but then they just fell right into their trap. The fight was brought over towards A, and, well, I mean, the fight was brought there, and T1 will lose it decisively. I was a little bit scared, I have to say, after initially Gen.G fell for the bait and they had to use that breach ultimate. I guess they're able to do just fine and actually winning the fights. Gen.G always fantastic on those retakes, but really I just kind of have to take away that T1 looked really, really unpolished. I talked to AZK a little while back and he said he thinks their biggest problem is dealing with those post plants. And it's definitely very notable right there because that just seemed a little bit too messy. It was honestly quite hard to follow and has me a little bit lost for words. T1 not going to be looking very good as they're stuck on pistols. Nothing more than a couple of upgraded pistols at that. A little bit of half armor to call theirs. Otherwise, well, they're just going to be hoping for something miraculous.
Yes, they are. Very interesting. Last round, I'm going to go back to it. huynh had the first 3 kills for his team. He found the first ounce in the opening engagement towards garage, the second in towards middle, that was effys, and then the third onto the retake. Very big from the opper. However, the other thing I want to note was the fact it was a weird kind of take. Like you said, the post plant wasn't the best. effys lurking up towards middle, a bit foolhardy, I guess, for information more than anything, but back to the round. effys will close it out. Just pistols, as we mentioned, not much hope to do anything. They did find one onto breach, but nothing more. As we now have a tied ball game, 3 to apiece, as Gen.G have woken up.
They've woken up, but you can partially blame them on how T1 have been handling their post plants. Taking the sites themselves hasn't been all too difficult, but holding on to it, obviously, is a completely different problem. Really, what I want to see from T1 is you know, a bit of a slower approach to it. If they kind of deny as much utility as they can from Gen.G, I mean, that's something that they won't have to worry about, you know, come post plan. Really, that breach has been a kind of pain in the side, and it feels like something that I haven't been able to say all too much about Breach, considering how seldom we've seen him used. But no, T1 actually want to go for a faster approach as they're just pushing straight in over towards C. They'll get punished almost immediately with 2-3 kills to Gen.G's name. And it's pretty much over before it even started. Again, the few things that were confident and looking good about T1 have just completely disintegrated. It's fallen all onto Brax's shoulders to try to pick up these pieces. It's not looking very likely, but well, we've seen him do crazy things before. Maybe he can try to pull off one more.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Players already flanked around. At this point, he's kind of boxed in towards the middle and towards garage. You can see Breach is already beginning to try and clear things out. There we go. The tripwire being popped, and now they know roughly where he is. Breach and Brimstone should have no problem on this flank. It's all up to the timing. Gen.G trying to walk forward. There's the easy spot and the free kill. Now it's time for me to say what I want to see, because at this point, T1, they've lost 4 rounds in a row. It's beginning to get a little bit dicey as we cross the halfway point of half number 1. And honestly, what really worked for them in those first 3 rounds, 2/3 of those takes, 2 of those 3 takes were towards the B site. Something that is seldom done on this map, right? It's kind of like hard to hold, and so a lot of teams actually go through B and use one of the links to go towards A or C.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
So I think just another straight kind of mid towards B hit might be something that can change up the pace and give them that edge, because they appear to be comfortable doing so.
Well, double commit from Gen.G is that sort of set piece that I wanted to see. This breach ultimate is going to be oh so punishing from GMD. There is no chance for either fRoD nor fRoD to do anything. They get maybe 1-2 shots out, but neither of them connect. MkaeL will back up to safety. It's the same story with the GMD, and look, I know that you want to see a B exec maybe trying to split it in over towards A, and I agree. I think that would be a great idea, but T1 have a completely different approach to this game, it seems so far, as Gen.G have their number. 5 rounds in a row going the way of Gen.G. At least very likely at this point. There's still a chance for this unlikely round to be pieced together. It's starting to really wear thin, those chances. AZK, he'll hit a banger of a shot through the smoke, but that's the magic of the Phoenix sometimes, or the magic of the Phantom rather. We'll start with Pete. Sometimes they just don't actually convert into that kill. He's bleeding internally, that breach. But it doesn't really matter when his teammates will be able to find the kill, no problem. Wow, this is kind of getting depressing at this point.
They're convincing wins. Like, they're not like back and forth bangerang rounds. It's 4 or 5 players surviving. Look at the money. 7,700, 8,900, 8,900, 8,000, 7,600. 9K caps. Everybody's approaching the caps for Team Gen.G. And T1 are again at 2K going for pistols.
It's interesting to me because in the past, T1 have been really trying to use double smokes a lot in their arsenal, but they've completely abandoned it for Haven. I understand why Haven isn't a map where you see a ton of double smokes, but I really feel like it would do them a lot of justice right now, especially from players like huynh, who will immediately take down the Sage of EZK. That is a huge player to have taken down. That's no res that's going to be usable for this one, and really the options become incredibly limited for T1. Although they weren't looking good in the first place because their money isn't all there right now.
It really isn't. And really, what can you expect of a round like this? We saw Gen.G win 1 pistol run, and that's what really started off this now 5 rounds in a row win streak. If T1 could do something similar, then I'd be pleasantly surprised, but it's not looking so, actually. As I say, that caster's curse. Brax will find one through the wall. That's a start, but still 4 more required. A second, okay. Brax, the lurk, Cypher, kind of a weird combo, but it'll work. effys, though, will dash those dreams. Will it be a take towards A? Teleport up towards heaven as well. crashies.
This is wonderful.
It is, but Hunter's Fury is there to at least delay the bomb plant, or the spike plant, rather.
It's actually real possible because you still have to remember crashies is in over towards heaven. They still have a wealth of information as well as ultimates to work with here. That run it back is online. crashies, I mean, if they don't check for him, this is actually a really pivotal position. Player one is going to be trying to hard clear here, but he's lost the fight with a ghost just nearly. He's barely staying alive in this one. 15 HP before it gets cut down to 0. effys hits a banger of a shot through the smoke. There was a real opportunity for T1, but it has been squandered, unfortunately, just because of the gun versus guns. Well,
The luck.
I mean,
The
trust
luck.
me, I'm always going to take rifles over pistols any day. Let me just put it that way.
Of course. That being said, probably the closest round T1's had in quite a while. If fRoD hadn't have died through that smoke, nothing he could do about it. Not going to take anything away from him, just very unlucky. Because the swing was coming through for what was essentially a double peek towards that connector towards A, it would have actually maybe won the round, right? 2 players swinging with the ghosts, 1 close range, 1 a little bit further from either direction. Could have been the pincer they needed to find those last 2 kills, and it could have been a 5-4 scoreline. Another slight tidbit of information. fRoD, the best performer for T1 during the FaZe tournament, sitting at the bottom. Maybe a sign of the issues here. That being said, you can only surmise as to what the problems could be. It looks like T1 have shifted gears. They're looking to go at least towards C, but player 1 gets through the door again. So aware. So many kills through smokes, through items that you shouldn't be able to see people through, yet they still come through. Hate to see it. Hate to see it, Ito.
There's 5 ultimates on board for T1 at the moment here, and they really need to get back on the board at the moment here. I think it's fine if you have a more expensive round in terms of utility, if you can just piece something together. fRoD, the person you're just mentioning as the bottom fragger at the moment, has gotten a very important kill over towards A, and suddenly Gen.G are a little bit on the back foot here. 2 ultimates, as I say, it will be actually used to try to put crashies in over towards Heaven, but he's going to be sent to Heaven by GMD just as quickly. Another retake scenario for Gen.G to overcome, but we've seen them in this position before. I'm sure that they'll be able to overcome it, as they have historically, and now we just wait for the inevitable to come through. There's one, huynh, coming in flying with a shorty to actually take down fRoD, and now fRoD will have to somehow do away with remaining members, and he was just going to try to close the distance, but, well, the results aren't very promising. Another retake going the way of Gen.G, and at what cost? 3 ultimates is the cost for T1, and they still don't get a win out of it.
I'm at a loss for words at this point. 7 rounds in a row for Team Gen.G. Another close round, and again, we had only 2 players surviving, but close is not enough at this point. It's 7-3 on what is a slightly attacker-sided map, because again, 3 sites. There's 3 sites, not just 2. So, in general, things are dicey. Things are dicey, Ito.
I mean, I think that just Gen.G haven't even had to bring out their playbook all too much. T1 have been bringing the fights to them. Gen.G, of course, as I say that, have been going for some aggression here. This is one of those set pieces that you see relatively often, just a slow contact push over towards B. And you saw it previously towards C as well. But Gen.G, I mean, far and away, haven't even had to push. T1 are just bringing the fights to them time and time again. No Brax nor AZK can somehow one-up just the unstoppable force that is GMD, the best performing player for Gen.G, I believe. And it's just really showing off at the moment. 10-3 seem to be, what, 8-3? This is going to be domination.
That is correct math. Never do math on stream, but that's the safe kind. I will say that. crashies now trying to win this duel with the Vandal at close range. His position's getting away. It's going to be difficult. He'll find one at least. Shorty just around the smoke. huynh just waiting for it. At this point, Gen.G are so comfortable on this map. Everywhere is their stomping ground. They're going for the bush. huynh? What is this call? He knows he's lit. He knows this.
This is information, man. This is totally fine, too. He's basically just denying any big map control here. He's within, like, 1-shot HP. Yeah, the Shorty's going to win that. There's absolutely... I saw 0 qualms in huynh doing that, man. The confidence is there. When you have such a massive buffer that's only going to be increasing, you know, you're allowed to go for some crazy plays like that. T1, obviously, they're going to be kind of struggling to stay afloat. At this point, they've basically drowned. 8 rounds in a row for Gen.G, and it's very likely to be 9, because take a gander at the economical situation for T1, and you're going to be very, very disappointed. They've strung together everything they possibly can, but it comes in the form of nothing more than maybe a judge, a couple of rifles, some of which not even the best rifles available. Not exactly the best looking situation for T1, to say the very least, but not trying to be John Madden here and pointing out the obvious.
It will be the B hit, something I wanted to see a lot earlier, but better late than never. Mon will find the first. Oh, 3 kills, 4 kills for T1. 3 versus 2 now. MkaeL, good double trying to entry in from the A link, but still many more to find. What is happening? A mid-round call to go towards C. It's so very weird, but it will work out as Brax brings the bomb, crashes in towards Garage as well.
This position from crashies is so dangerous. Surely Garage is one of those areas that can clear hard, and indeed that is the case. MkaeL will win that push with, or win that fight, excuse me, very convincingly, and they'll be looking to push in. Brax, well, he's wonderful at clutching, but this just might be too tall of an order for him. He's already been giving away his position. A smoke will go down just to make the job a little bit easier for Gen.G with a Molotov behind it. Now the options become incredibly limited, but Brax will be finding all the options and making lemonade out of these lemons that he's been given. Tagging up as well. 1 HP. Brax! Oh my god, he's gotten it off! Wonderful.
1 HP clutch, 1 HP.
Brax needed that, man. He absolutely needed that. I wasn't sure if the defuse actually came through because I thought he was sticking it towards the end, but I think he actually faked it. I've been fooled. Remember yesterday how I was fooled by, I thought they got off the defuse, but they actually didn't. This was the complete opposite. We're fine.
He did win it. Starting off the game, the half strong and ending the half strong with 3 and capping off with 1. Not the best scoreline, but still better than nothing, right? At least Gen.G doesn't have double digits as of yet. We'll enter the second pistol round here shortly. We see a frenzy on huynh with light armor. Interesting call. And we see a shorty on fRoD. That is something that we see as more common for the Jetts. And we see a cheeky little dart being shot towards middle. That was an interesting lineup.
I'm not sure what that is trying to punish, however. I think that hits on top of the Sage wall if the Sage goes for a round 1 boost, but I don't really see that all too often. Still, though, the wall on pistol round in particular is pivotal, arguably one of the most powerful things the Sage can do. Those Sage walls versus those pistols are always pretty tough to deal with. The push begins just as quickly. Gen.G just don't care really about the timings whatsoever. Right on through after tossing out that initial shock dart. And it really is just kind of an anticlimactic finish to this round, it seems like, at the moment. T1, they're trying to make their presence known, but they're losing these fights, and there's this 0 trade potential from the remaining members on T1 here. They're going to still give it the old college try. That's crashies. Well, have to shoulder everything Gen.G are hoping for, but
he was being bullied there.
Not
was
gonna
no
happen.
chance.
Yeah, I was waiting for the kill to come through. Just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah. 9-4. At this point, I don't want to call it because it's not over yet, but 9-4, pistol round being lost in the first round of this half. It's looking like too much to come back from. It's looking insurmountable at this point. Gen.G are looking incredibly tall and handsome. Looking at the buy, it looks like T1 aren't counting themselves out yet. They aren't going for those gamble forces second round. They are still on the pistols. As they say, it isn't over till it's over.
Well, it's starting to look very, very over here, but this is actually a really great position for T1 to be in with these pistols. crashies has effectively pushed all the way up through Garage, and he started running towards the end of it. I understand why he did. He wanted to close the distance, but that just kind of gives away his position, and well, that advantage that was looking oh so good for T1 has diminished just as quickly. There's going to be that B to A split that we mentioned previously being used perfectly from Gen.G as he'll get the bomb down safely, or the spike down safely. Got to get the right terminology in use, but look, T1, they can get a couple of kills on their way out. Actually being able to retake and get that spike defuse is going to be a completely different beast. I don't see it happening at all.
It's going to be difficult. Uphill battle from start to finish. They do at least have an SMG on that Jett, but again, versus essentially a full lineup of weapons that are prepared to take out low armored players, it's going to be difficult. They're kind of just toying with the idea. They're not even in as of yet, and in fact, it looks like they will turn tail and run. It will be double digits for Gen.G as they get 10-4 of T1. A nice double dink by huynh. fRoD, I don't think he invested anything in that round, so he lost nothing but the classic and a bit of pride. 10-4. Again, a very one-sided affair thus far.
Well, maybe the scoreline is 10-4, but it is far from okay from T1. They're just really struggling to stay afloat. Again, that just kind of seems like the big thing that I can take away from this. fRoD is going to be forcing that glass cannon operator, so completely armorless. You know, what's T1 need to change at this point here? I don't feel like we've seen enough of their attack to really make any big conclusions, but I mean, honestly, they need to start winning their fights for one, but they need to take a slower approach to it. Honestly, I mean, they can punish some of these, you know, early pieces of aggression from Gen.G. It feels like such a John Madden statement, I know, again, but Gen.G, I mean, they got away with it when they're on the defensive end. I'm sure that they can at least win some of these fights here. They have the skill, they have the prowess for it. They're just not showing it right here. That breach stun will absolutely demolish Brax's hopes of being able to stop that push early in onto the B bomb site, and now he's in the middle of no man's land. There's a couple of players who might be able to help him, but just a crossfire on the site I thought was going to be insurmountable. It turns out that's not the case. GMD still, though, is giving his team some hope. He finds 2 kills, but that's all he's going to be able to find for his team overall. I mean, no one else picked up a kill for that entire round, and P1, they're going to get a very convincing 5th on the board. Where did that come from? I'm not quite certain, but it was all kickstarted by Brax.
Yes, it was. Finally, some signs of life here in the second half. A 5th round on the board, but again, still half the rounds of Gen.G. It's going to be an uphill battle. I'm going to keep on saying it for the remainder of this game until they finally pull it off. If they do, it will be Team Gen.G on a half buy. We have an SMG, a Bulldog, and some pistols. It looks like they want to go towards C. fRoD trying to boost up over the smoke, just barely misses the players, and in fact, crashies, given some false confidence. He'll try to go for fRoD. Oh, he's punished for it as well. huynh, a double entry, and that C site taken. Now the spike can go down, and now the round's been turned on. It's at T1's advantage from the last round has suddenly turned into a disadvantage, going for the retake. huynh misses an opportunity. That will be punished. fRoD gets that kill. Player 1 does get a trade via AZK, however. As the run it back does conclude, it will be a 2 versus 3 going into the retake. Shot dart in, however, food tagged down. It looks near impossible at this point. He's trying to walk in while player 1 sits on back of it. He's not even being checked. He'll get the first, not the second. Brax will get the trade, but again, 2 more players to find. They both have full HP. Taps the bomb, gets the information. That's the sheriff player towards long, but even then, effys with just a pistol will pull it off. It will be 11 rounds and a thrifty victory for Gen.G, as they are now 1 round away from match point.
Okay, look. I don't want to be the backseat gamer here. There's a reason we're not in this tournament and that we're just casting it. But I cannot understand what that set piece was. You know, what was it trying to accomplish from T1? Like, it just doesn't make sense at all that crashies would be pushing through that smoke. Look, I know that they surely have a read on the eco of Gen.G. It just doesn't make sense. There's no reason for crashies to put it or to push that, even though fRoD was watching over the smoke. It just wasn't confident. crashies, he'll make up for it though. A very lovely shot through the smoke will take down player 1, getting revenge, I suppose, on Gen.G, but Gen.G won't take that one sitting down. They'll trade kills, taking down AZK. The Sage out of commission here makes things a little bit more difficult for T1, but they haven't given up hope. fRoD will also expend his Jett ultimate as well, and this is what we need to see out of T1. They're winning their fights a little bit more confidently, and MkaeL, he's not present for the occasion whatsoever. A lovely triple from Brax, as I believe he's gone up to that 20 bomb now, or at least is approaching it quickly.
Yes, he is. 6 now on the board, slowly starting to return to form again. Kind of back and forth at this point, but the back and forth game is something they will not win. They are too far in the hole to try to go for it. At this point, they need to have a sprint of rounds in a row. A brief spat of rounds, in fact, probably 4 to get them to 10, 3 or 4 to really get back into it. 4 is probably asking a little too much, but we'll see. Their defense has appeared to be much better than their attack was. They're kind of more dynamic, more ready, and winning their duels.
I don't think T1 are exactly confident enough to try to go for some of this early aggression here. fRoD, I guess, maybe is but it's only going to be a 1-for-1, even in the best cases of scenario, or the best of scenarios, excuse me. The trade, a little bit late from fRoD, but, well, I guess he'll be showing up a little bit later. fRoD still has the prowess of that, you know, the days of old, and I'm pretty sure Jasper, you know, he's going to be looking back, reminiscing on his days playing with fRoD or something of the sort, but T1, they really needed that double kill. crashies has effectively backed off, waited for contact to be made with him. Lovely flash play on through, will immediately punish the Omen in question. Gen.G are right back into this round here. fRoD misses a crucial shot here, but on the second retreat, he will be able to get one more before he is put into a grave. fRoD with a massive triple on the round.
Indeed. 2-on-1 though, both on the flank. GMD has no idea this is coming through. He might get an inkling if he doesn't spot somebody in the next couple seconds, but he's going to be blindsided. It's all up to timing. Brax walking in. He'll be spotted, but no idea. AZK's here. It's an easy trade. Well played by AZK. The trade game does work out, and it will be a second round in a row now for T1.
The French stars comes alive, man. French stars. Nah, I mean, really nothing more to say there towards the end other than
the bugs.
Still 11-7. T1, they have hope. You know, I mean, the gap isn't really too terrible. I gotta say, I mean, fRoD, all things considered, had a pretty good round. Was maybe a little bit late to actually help fRoD. I feel like he should have been pushed up a little bit more over towards A short. But again, hindsight's 20/20. He got enough crucial frags to actually piece that round together. He was really wise in his duels, but that's not really the best way to win your rounds. You can't always rely on your operator to go mad like that. What you can rely on, apparently, is Brax. That is a lovely kill for him to get through. This B site is just completely locked down for construction, as AZK will reconstruct the faces of multiple members of Gen.G. They are going to be put out. Oh, will they? Okay, never mind. We think they will be put out. It just takes a little bit to actually get that scoreline through. And 11-8, AZK and co will be closing this distance ever more.
Indeed. I said a brief spat of rounds, right? 3, maybe 4. That is what I said. We're now on 2 since I made that remark. 11-9 would be a decent scoreline to really get their heads back in the game. And Brax, he's appearing to be the duelist. Even though he's on Cypher, he is taking those duels around the wall there towards B. Taking the initiative in those fights to really get his team an early advantage is what's working right now for T1, and they should keep trying for that strategy.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just like really worried about that because Gen.G, I mean, this is what I said T1 need to do, but this is something that they can be adaptable to. You already see that they are being adaptable towards it. Check out this much slower round that they're kind of commencing, where they seem to already be focusing mainly on over towards B mid. Completely rescinded long C and A control. This is where you see those set pieces that often the defense tries to pull off. Never mind, we'll get to that one a little bit later. fRoD has just pulled off a miracle, and player 1 has done the same. 2 kills for the 2 players. And unbelievable antics over towards the B-bomb site right now there, but fRoD won't take it sitting down, nor will crashies. They both find a kill. crashies actually doubles up, finds a double kill of his own, and the round is over just like that. I wanted to try to analyze, but suddenly Gen.G just completely throw away the strat book.
What a fast round. What a fast round. fRoD the double entry. That was huge. The double ult from player 1 kept it even. But again, in the end, it was the push coming in from the A link that really settled that round in favor of T1. Well done by crashies on the take with fRoD to support as well on the Phoenix run it back. And looking at the scoreboard, now 3 in a row. They can get it 4. They're in complete control of the ult economy. 4-3 of Team Gen.G. They might just get over this hump and emerge with something that's manageable.
Well, obviously, Gen.G seemed pretty committed to giving this one up here, but we've seen them do crazier things. Remember last time we saw them on the eco, and the adjustment from T1, it's about the same, actually. They're going to be having that double set piece over towards A long, where fRoD and fRoD will be aggressing. Surprised Gen.G haven't been fighting harder for that early long control. Just kind of rescinded it time after time. Oftentimes you see I think MkaeL likes to pull a cyber cage, or just sorry, excuse me, toss a cyber cage out towards that a long. Excuse me, sorry, my producer just said something into my ear. MkaeL. That's how you're supposed to say his name. Thank you for that, Pogs. I appreciate it. But he just kind of cyber cages down the sight line. But now not going to be used whatsoever. Doesn't matter all too much. The flow is kind of stagnant right now, to be honest, from Gen.G. They're just waiting for a push to happen to them.
There's no flow. There's zero flow. In fact, they're all standing completely still in the window of garage, hoping for someone to walk into the crosshair so they can get a free kill and a gun out of it. Because honestly, walking forward with the solid off for Sheriff is not the best idea. fRoD 3. Not quite the fourth, but he's got the classic out. Player with Jett by him. He's so confused. He will fall. effys does get one more as well amidst the chaos. That's crashies dropped, but it will still be a one-sided affair for Team T1. They will recover the operator as well for fRoD. He's been putting in work as well. The coach, might I add. We could make some coach jokes.
Second highest right now, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
No room to say with the coach because he's the second frag right now. That's very, very cool to see, I must say.
Take a gander at the lack of A presence from T1 at the moment. I'm not 100% certain. Why are they doing this, actually? Wait, what I see, I think crashies, yeah, he's going to toss out the paranoia to fake presence because they've been trying to go out over towards A shore every single round. The fact that they have it there is going to basically force Gen.G to completely rescind control. And T1, now no one's going to be occupying that right side of the map. They'll be pushing upon it. This is wonderful. I love this from crashies and co. This is what T1 need.
They're finally getting dynamic, and ironically, it's on the defending side. Kind of weird, but I love it. I love to see how they change things up, using that paranoia again towards short, but moving the op elsewhere, giving the attackers some false confidence towards the garage, and punishing that. fRoD now down towards middle. Find two. The duelist finally showing up. Not quite the third, but he does a lot of damage. MkaeL down to 11. MkaeL, I'm sorry. MkaeL, it's many more syllables.
I have conflicting thoughts about fRoD doing that, though. He was in an untradeable position from the get-go. Luckily, he found two, but what if that was a 1-for-1, man? Lots to be scared about. As we enter the last 30 seconds, Nay, you need to take this one away because I might just have to hold my breath for this one.
DK up on side, he'll find one. This is a one-and-done spot. They only need one and dones, and that being said, he'll make it a two-and-done. He'll find both, make sure the round is over, and a tied ball game, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that is now, how many in a row? 5? 6! It's 6 in a row! Oh my goodness, what a return to form. Again, I talked about it. This map, to me, seems slightly more attacker-sided, and yet here we are. Both teams at a minimum of 7, borderline 8 on their respective defending sides. It's crazy. It's the caster's curse back at it.
I just really love how T1 played that round from start to finish. The fake flash out from crashies to go ahead and completely, fool everybody who's trying to take a short control. This time Gen.G will be fighting harder for it, but fRoD will be present once more, as he's been so many times and as he has been crucial so many times. fRoD will actually just completely give up on the dream of pushing out over towards A long. effys, meanwhile, expending his ultimate. His Hunter's Fury, excuse me, I should say, over towards C. And I was about to say, there are 4 ultimates online for both teams here, which means that Gen.G are sure to try to get them all out just to try to win another round and put themselves on match point. And indeed, that will be the case. crashies will cancel his ultimate over towards A long as well, because there is absolutely zero presence from the defenders. And there is zero presence from them in this round overall. It's 11-11, and, well, despite all the hopeful antics of T1, I think Gen.G just might find match point.
They might just do so. 5 versus 2. They'll have 2 ults to bring into the next as well. effys, he'll find the penultimate kill. The last alive is Sage. She's already tagged down from the Hunter's Fury. Should have no real shot in this round. That's AZK. Saving his gun. Trying to heal himself up. And just trying to go for some exits here. It will be 12-11. Gen.G do finally recover after that 6-round spat of rounds from T1. And they do have at least overtime, if not potentially the game if they win the next. Then will come in. effys will secure a flawless round for Gen.G, as well as map point here in round 1 of groups.
Well, at least the big thing to worry about for the side of T1 is you know, the economy. They don't have to worry about that, is what I should say, rather. They're going to be pulling out the triple op
Can
setup to
someone
start
get
things
this?
out. They have the money to do it. They can go ahead and use
Can
this
someone get this?
this unrated strat, what it
Thank
feels like.
you.
Plus, they still have those 4 ultimates online. I mean, the ultimate game is always something that I like to keep a big eye on. Is seriously, like, those ultimates can be absolutely game-changing. ATK with that res in particular. I mean, that means fRoD can basically go for something absolutely crazy while he's not in his ultimate form. You know, maybe go for that B mid push again. It's all very possible, and there's so many options for T1 at the moment. They have to force us to OT. But Gen.G, I mean, they have been pretty fantastic this entire game. I can see them closing it out right here, right now.
If the beginning of this game, the first half was ending to go by, it should have been done and dusted by now. That being said, T1, they have surprised me in many ways. They picked this map for a reason, and their defense is not to be trifled with. They have been doing amazing things thus far, and I'm excited to see if they can get us to overtime. It would be a fitting end to what is, at this point, a banger of a matchup. Swing will come, and it will be the C site taken, or A site rather, excuse me, taken for free. fRoD just playing a retake towards heaven, smoked out as well, no real shot. It will be the spike going down now at the 40-second mark. Will be a full 5-on-5 going to the retake. Run it back by fRoD, trying to get an entry. Spot fRoD, but he won't find any success, just wasting it down. Gen.G, an ability kill. Through the wall, he'll find crashies. AZK will go for the revive, keeping it at a 5 versus 5. Player 1 and win, 1 apiece now. It's chaos as the players enter the site with the smoke. Player 1 at third, as Gen.G finds the penultimate with the last alive. Brax gets 2. He needs more though. Swinging in, he'll find a third. It's a 1-on-2. Now he's on 3 in a row. 1 versus 5 for overtime. Can he do it?
4 bullets.
4 bullets, and in fact, I didn't even see how it happened. MkaeL, excuse me, will find it, and no overtime is required. 13-11. What an ending round, however. Brax coming alive when you needed him was not quite enough. Again, Gen.G taking this map, and round 1 of group stages, 13-11.
Not a terrible showing from T1. I mean, Gen.G have been one of those teams that, maybe not their kryptonite, but they have had a pretty decent record versus T1. So I don't think they can be all too depressed with that result, especially on the defense.